This is the Louie Tee Network.
Who else could it be but me, your me, Louie T? Welcome to lockdown coverage, week number 13 in the National Football League. Denver Broncos on the road taking on the Jacksonville Jaguars. For the Denver Broncos, last week was a tough one. You're up 8 with 3 minutes left. Chiefs, no timeouts. They take it down the field, tie the game up. 2-point conversion's good. They go to overtime and wrestle that game away from you. Gut punch. Knocks you out of the playoff temporarily and into the in the hunt category. Dolphins take your spot as the number 6 seed in the AFC playoffs. But this is a championship team. Championship medal is being tested. What do you do when you go back on the road and take on the Jaguars? You need to get a win. No starting quarterback, no Trevor Siemian here. So your rookie backup quarterback has to start. How do you respond if you're the Broncos? For the Jaguars, it's simple. Can we get one more for Gus before he goes, man? That's the question. Can we get Gus one more dub on the way out? Because this is it for Gus Bradley. Can you get him one more win before he is dismissed as Jaguars head coach? You're on a, let's call it a 6 or 7 game losing streak right now. It's been a while since you won a game. I think you beat the Bears, let's call it 5 games ago. Let's be a little generous here. I feel good today. So we'll call it a 5-game losing streak. But sitting at 2-9 coming into this game, it's going to be another double-digit losing season for the Jaguars. And we'll see how bad the damage is once this season is done. But there are some positives to take from this game, and there are some positives with this Jaguars roster. It's not the assemblance of the talent. It's the way it's being used. And that's the biggest issue right now in Jacksonville for sure. So before we break this game down, if you haven't already done so, go ahead and subscribe to the Louie Tee Network on YouTube. We're continuing to change the game over here. I want you guys to help us do that by hitting the red subscribe button. Make sure you subscribe to the Louie Tee Network on YouTube. Also, I'm on Twitter at In The Lab Room is the Twitter handle. Go ahead and follow me there. And I'm also on Facebook. In The Lab Room is the Facebook page. Go ahead and give me a like there, that thumbs up. All my social media platforms up above in the box scrolling across the screen so you can't miss them. Go ahead and take care of business there. So, with that being said, let's start with the Broncos in this game and what they were able to accomplish. The first thing that I noticed with the Broncos in this game is Paxton Lynch. Everything just seems slower with him in the offense. And obviously, granted, he's a rookie, so that's what you probably expect. You know, the reads are going to be a little bit slower. The ball's going to come out. Progressions are going to be a little bit slower. Again, all of those things you expect, but the delivery is slow. When the ball is in the air, even though he has a big arm, especially on the deep ball, it's too much air being put underneath the football. So those balls are slow. There's a play, I want to say in the second quarter, I think it might have been even more so in the third quarter, where Emmanuel Sanders is open on a deep ball, and that ball hangs in the air forever, gives the Jags defenders a chance to get back into the play. They deflect it, almost pick it off. And that to me is just somewhat of a microcosm of what you saw from him in this game in terms of just everything being slow. You know, delivery of the football, decision-making, progressions, everything. It's just slower with Lynch in the lineup, whereas with Siemian, there's a little bit more of a tempo and a rhythm and a pace. Guys can catch the football in a position where they can get some yards after the catch. That's usually not the case with Lynch. Guys are diving, having to try to go and dig the football out of the ground. Just a lot of things that you're not accustomed to if you're a Broncos receiver, especially having come from Peyton Manning and then Osweiler coming in and playing solid football last year, and then having Siemian do the same this year. Lynch isn't ready. Again, that's the takeaway from this. And, you know, everybody's going to talk about, you know, the quarterback position and is there going to be a controversy come next year. There's no controversy this year. Lynch isn't ready. Maybe he's ready this time next year or in the offseason after he's able to go through the whole program again. And the playbook is much easier for him to digest, and all of a sudden now he's not thinking. He can just go out and play. Maybe things slow down for him and actually speed up during the game because, like I said, everything just seemed really slow. This offense was slow. 1 of 13 on third downs. That's not going to win you many games, but luckily enough for you, you play the Jacksonville Jaguars, so you can get away with 1 of 13. Tell you this much, If they had played any other team in that division, the AFC South, they probably lose this football game because the offense was anemic in this game, and Paxton Lynch is simply not ready for the show quite yet. Kapri Bibbs offers a burst out of the backfield. He's reminiscent of what the Broncos had in Ronnie Hillman, a guy that can come in and be a home run hitter. We've seen him hit the home run already this season. Remember, he had the big touchdown run versus the Oakland Raiders. So we know Kapri Bibbs can scoot when he's on the football field. And you see the burst. They didn't get a lot out of the running game, but the significant runs that they did get out of the running game in this game came from Kapri Bibbs and his ability to hit a hole and go much faster than slow. So this is a guy that I think is going to see the football a little bit more. If he can stay healthy, he's not the biggest guy in the world, but if he can stay healthy, I think Kapri Bibbs is a guy that's going to see the rock a little bit more in Denver because of that dynamic speed and that ability to make some cuts and make some plays for this Broncos offense. Like I said, he was the leading rusher, didn't have a bunch of totes, but the ones that he had, he made count. He has an impact on the game, especially when he gets out in space. Riley Dixon and Kayvon Webster were killing the game against the Jaguars. Riley Dixon, your rookie punter, has come in and been absolutely outstanding this season. And this game in particular, when you know you're going to need to play the field position game, when you know your quarterback is not converting on third downs, you're not moving the football with any kind of efficiency, you're going to have to win special teams. And I thought the Broncos did that in this game. The Jags were backed up, pinned up against their own end zone for much of the afternoon. And a lot of that was due to the combination of Riley Dixon punting the football and Kayvon Webster as a gunner getting down there and catching the football. Kayvon Webster has been one of the better special teams players in the league for at least the last 3 seasons. So this is no surprise to me. Shouldn't be a surprise to most Broncos fans who are paying attention. But, man, were those two dynamic in this game? I mean, literally, he was catching the football at about the 5, it seemed like, on just about every other punt. So, I mean, that's a really good combination there to have a guy that can kick it, get you some hang time, and allow your gunner to get down there and have an impact and catch the football. And Webster is one of those guys, one of the first people down there each and every single kick. And you saw him making plays. And, again, when you don't have it on offense, you got to find a way to get it done. And that means you're going to have to win another phase of the game to make up for the lack of offense. And luckily enough for you, I don't even think that the Broncos necessarily lost offense in this game. Because the Jaguars aren't that good themselves. So you could actually look at it and say that was a wash. You know, those two teams canceled each other out because both of them were horrible on offense in this game. But the Jags didn't win the defense. I didn't think they were terrible defensively. As a matter of fact, we'll talk about that Jags defense here in a second. But the Broncos won the defensive battle because they generated turnovers and the Jags did not. And then the Broncos won special teams, and that's how you win in this league. You're not going to have your fastball on offense, especially when you're starting a rookie backup quarterback. You're not going to have your fastball on offense, but you got to find ways to win, and that's what the good teams in this league do. You find ways to win, and you still need to win 2 out of the 3 phases of the game, and they won the defensive and special team phases in this game, and I think that's why the Broncos were able to come away with this victory 20-10 versus the Jacksonville Jaguars. And then finally, and this isn't something that I really need to say because this goes without saying, but I'm going to say it anyway because I'm one that likes to say things out loud so that you can internalize them. Because a lot of times we take units or certain specific players for granted because we've come to expect excellence from them. We used to do it with Peyton Manning all the time. I think we do it with Brady sometimes now just because we are used to it. Oh, that's just Brady being Brady. Or Drew Brees for that matter. When excellence is in front of you, acknowledge it. This Broncos defense is extraordinary. Acknowledge the fact that they're extraordinary. Because at some point, they're not going to be extraordinary anymore. And we're going to say, oh, man, the Broncos defense fell off. But acknowledge the run that they're having right now because they're damn good. And they did it again. They did it again. Bradley Roby. Again, when you don't have your fastball offensively, other guys, other units have to step up. And the defense did it again on the road. Roby with about a 55-yard interception return for a touchdown. Blake Bortles, just never seen him undercutting the drag route across the middle, that shadow crossing route. And he went right under it. And again, Blake Bortles, I'm going to talk about him in a little while. But that wasn't a great throw either way. Even if he wasn't there, I don't think that would have been a great throw anyhow. So Bradley Roby with a huge play. Then the defense with the game still in the balance, only up 7. Jags have the ball late, create a fumble, get the turnover, and get the field goal to put this game on ice. And again, that's what the good defenses in the league do. They find a way to shut the door at the end. Game's on the line, got to find a way to get a stop, and they found a way to do just that and put this game out of reach. So this defense, again, extraordinary for the Denver Broncos, and I just thought you should know. Let's get to the Jaguars in this game as they drop to now 2-10 on the season. Let's start with Blake Bortles because he's always a hot topic of discussion when you're talking Jaguars football. Another bad game for him. And, you know, my biggest thing with Blake Bortles is I've talked about this on numerous occasions. Look, I've never heard a quarterback admit that he's not a natural thrower of the football. What? Okay. Yeah. You're not a natural thrower of the football. So how the hell are you playing a quarterback position? In any event, if you don't like what you see, run, Blake. He ran for a touchdown. It was impressive. He can do that. He dove for a first down. He can do that. On third down, he's capable of using his legs. I thought that's why he wasn't that bad last week versus Buffalo, because he ran. Had 80 yards or so rushing last week. That's why his performance was really solid last week, because he didn't force the issue, because he didn't take dumb risks. He didn't throw into tight man-to-man coverage. He ran. You know what that does? It extends plays. It also moves the sticks. It gives you another set of downs to try to move the football into scoring range. When you force it into tight man-to-man coverage or you force it into zone and a guy is standing right there, you're asking for trouble. You're asking for an incomplete pass. It's like a wasted down. How many times in this game did you see Blake Bortles force the football into tight, I'm talking about airtight man-to-man coverage and have the football swatted down effortlessly by a Denver Broncos defender? Like, why are you throwing the football? You see there's no gain here. The best thing that can happen is that it gets knocked down, okay? The worst thing that can happen is that knockdown isn't a knockdown, but a deflection that caroms into the air and is picked off by a Denver Broncos defender. What are you doing? There was one miss, and then when he misses, he just misses. There's one miss to Marquise Lee on a third down. Jags are moving the football a little bit, and he throws the football like 7 yards over Marquise Lee's head. And Blake goes, oh, like he was close. Like, what are you? You're not even close, man. Bruh, you were 7 yards over the man's head. What are you? Oh, I almost had it. Oh, Blake. Oh, Blake. Oh, Blake. This guy's not good. I wanted him to be so good because he's got the physical gifts. He's size, arm strength, but he's just not good. He doesn't make good decisions. He doesn't throw accurately. And he already told us, I'm not a natural thrower of the football. What more you need to hear from this man? I just don't think Blake Bortles is a starting quarterback in this league. I just don't. It's a shame because I wanted him to be good because I said he was going to be the best. And I don't care if I'm wrong. I'm wrong all the time. Everybody's wrong because you think you don't know in this league. You know, it's a crapshoot. Every time you draft a player, it's a crapshoot. You don't know what you're getting. You think you know. You do your homework. You hope you know, but you don't know. I don't think he's a starting quarterback in this league. I just don't. Telvin Smith's personal foul penalty, and really the Jags had a ton of penalties that hurt. And it wasn't that they had 15 penalties on the day. It was when they got these penalties that hurt them in this game. There were some very untimely, inopportune penalties committed by the Jacksonville Jaguars, the first of which was Telvin Smith's personal foul penalty on Paxton Lynch, hitting him in the head. Jags get the lead 3-0, and I call it a closeout drive. Much like baseball, shutdown inning, I call it a shutdown drive. And much like baseball, shutdown inning, after you score some runs, you want your pitcher to come out, shut down the team the next inning, not give up any runs. I call it a shutdown drive. You need to come out on the next drive after you score, and in this case for the Jags, you take the lead 3-0. Come out and get a shutdown drive. Don't give up anything. They get the Broncos into third and long, and they struggled. I told you they're 1-13 were the Broncos in this game on third down. So it's not hard to get them off the field with a rookie backup quarterback. And he clubs Paxton Lynch in the head, giving the Broncos a fresh set of downs when they were going to have to punt. And so what do the Broncos do? Pop a couple of big runs with Capri Bibbs, get inside the red zone, and Devontae Booker gets in the end zone for a touchdown. And just like that, they're down 7-3. They would never see the lead again. That would be the last time they would be in the lead in this game. And just like that, voila, the game has changed, and you would never see the light of day in this game for the Jaguars. And again, those are the types of penalties that bad football teams commit. And they had more. A hands to the face penalty at the end of the first half. Jags possessed the football. I talked about Riley Dixon and Kayvon Webster making a hell of a team in this game on special teams. Well, Kayvon Webster downs it at the 5. So the Jags start from their own 5 with about 2 minutes and let's call it 45 seconds left in the first half. And they methodically start to move the football. They get a first down. They get another first down. And Blake scrambles for about 11 on 3rd and 8. And they're about to pick up another first down. And all of a sudden, you're thinking maybe they could get a field goal before half and really make this thing interesting. And on that 3rd down scramble by Blake, hands to the face penalty by A.J. Khan. Just like that. That drive is dead. Got to punt the football. Then you turn around, special teams late hit on that same possession, on that same punt. Special teams hits the return man out of bounds late. 15 yards. Broncos get a field goal right before the half, 10-3. Instead of you potentially getting a field goal and making it 7-6, now the Broncos get a field goal and make it 10-3. Again, that's what the bad teams in this league do. And I've always talked about the undisciplined nature of this Jacksonville Jaguars team under Gus Bradley. They don't have high football IQ. They don't make smart plays. And that late hit before the half is a prime example that helped lead to the Broncos getting a field goal. And if you look at their points, all 10 of their first half points were aided by huge penalties of the 15-yard variety that helped them get in the scoring range. Again, Paxton Lynch struggled in this game. The Broncos as an offense struggled in this game. So they needed help, and the Jaguars were more than willing to help the Broncos get points in this game. And then, again, the other touchdown, aided by the Jaguars, pick 6 by Blake Bortles. So you see the trend here. All 20 of the points scored by the Broncos in this game were aided by the Jacksonville Jaguars. 10 of them directly off of turnovers. The other 10 directly attributed or directly helped and spurred by huge 15-yard Jacksonville Jaguar personal foul penalties. So the Jags doing all they can to make sure that the opposition gets the win versus them in this game. A positive before we run in this game. The Jaguars defense, quietly, this young unit is coming together. They're starting to really play solid football. And that was really minus Yannick Ngakoue for the majority of this game, who was injured and did not return. This Jaguars defense is young. They're physical. They're athletic. They're fast. And they can do some things. And I like what I'm seeing out of them. The one thing I would urge them to do is generate more turnovers. They don't turn teams over. They had opportunities in this game. Okay, Paxton Lynch was not sharp. He gave them opportunities. Ball hung in the air forever. There's a breakup by Jalen Ramsey, who I think is really playing some good football. Because the turnovers aren't there with Ramsey, you may not be paying attention, but this guy is checking the other team's best receiver, and he's playing some outstanding football. He had a knockaway on a deep ball, and I told you Paxton Lynch's deep ball hangs forever because he puts too much air under it. And Ramsey was in great position. He located the football, knocked it away. How about you try to go up with 2 hands and pick that off? I thought he was in good enough position to try to go for that interception. Be greedy there. You're in great position. Go after the ball. Remember, that was the knock on Ramsey coming out of Florida State, is that there's not enough production there. He doesn't make plays. He's a guy that is around the ball, but he doesn't take the ball away. I'd like to see this Jaguars defense take it away more. They're good. They're fast. Like I said, very athletic defense. They're physical. They're young. So you're going to have mistakes, but let's see them make some more plays, because obviously the offense isn't going to do it. Make some plays. And just a little side note, Adam Robinson, he's not the same guy this year. And I think it's the inaccuracies from Blake Bortles that's really starting to get to him. He's not focused. That first pick that Bortles threw in this game, I'm not even going to put that on Blake. I need Allen Robinson to come down with that football. And he starts juggling it and allows Chris Harris Jr. to juggle it and take it away from him. Allen Robinson needs to be better, and he just hasn't been this season. I think a lot of that has to do with the fact that he's getting frustrated because the football just isn't catchable half of the time. And when it is, it's tight man-to-man coverage, and he's not able to make plays this year. So It's really disappointing watching this Jaguars team play offensively right now. But that being said, Broncos get the win, a much-needed win. After the heartbreaker last week at home versus Kansas City, they bounced back 20-10 on the road, get to 8-4 in the season, get back into the playoff picture. They're now in that wild card position yet again, and we knew they would. Like I said, I didn't expect them to miss the playoffs. They're a playoff caliber team. They're one of the best 6 teams in the AFC. They're going to make the playoffs. I'm convinced of that, and they get it done. And they just needed to buy a week. And if there was any week that Trevor Siemian was going to be allowed to miss and they still could win, this was the one. If they played anybody else on their schedule with the way they played offense in this game, they probably lose the game. This was not an impressive performance offensively, but again, defense and special teams stepped up, got them this victory, 20-10, as they go to 8-4 in the season. For the Jags, it's more of the same. It's like a broken record. You see the same things week after week. They lose the turnover battle, undisciplined, poor penalties at bad times. It's the same old for them. There's a 3rd and 7 in this game late, and they run the football and pick up 3 yards and punt. What the hell are you doing, man? Seriously, I understand Blake Bortles. I mean, he's not a great option on 3rd down, but it's better than a draw handoff on 3rd and 7 when you're down 17-10 with 5 minutes left in the game. What are you doing? Yeah, Mr. Hackett, I'm talking to you. What the hell are you doing? You don't know. You're clueless. This whole staff is clueless. Jags lose 20-10. They're now 2-10 on the season. So, quick questions from a couple of the viewers. DG Production says, thoughts on Jalen Ramsey in this game? I thought he was really solid. I just want to see him make more plays, and I already reiterated that, so I'm not going to beat that horse dead. But he's always around the ball. Let's see you make some plays now. Let's see you pick something off. Let's see you go and attack the football. Don't swat it away and then give me the whole, oh yeah, nope, incomplete. Don't come over here. Don't stare a guy down after. Want to stare somebody down? Make a play. Pick a ball off. Do what the opposite team was doing in this game. Do what the Broncos was doing, picking balls off. Then you can stare at the guys who walk back to your sideline. Don't stare at me after a knockaway. Do something to shorten the field for your offense. That's what I would say to Jalen Ramsey, but he's playing good football, and he did play some good football in this game. Mo Hunnett says, Jacksonville is all wasted potential. They need to get a new coach and switch to a 3-4 defense because their players fit that scheme more. I don't know if they fit that scheme more or not. Again, because in a 3-4, now you're asking Telvin Smith, who maybe be able to stay clean. He may be able to stay a lot cleaner in a 3-4. I think you're fine with the scheme, but whatever they decide to do, that's fine. But there's a lot of talent there. They just got to figure out how to utilize it. And a lot of times, teams don't stay in their base package that often anyway because of the way this league is set up with a lot of passing, teams going 3, 4, 5 wide, 2 tights and 3 wides, or 4 wides and a tight. Either way, teams aren't in their base that often anyhow. But the fact that they have all of this talent, it's a good thing. Whether they can find a coach to come in here and get that talent to perform is another thing, but at least it's there. The talent is there. David Caldwell has done a great job assembling a talented football team. Now it's all about getting the most out of that talent. And we'll see how they plan to do that moving forward. Mo Hunnett says, I got turned off by Bortles this year. I think the Jags have to give him one more year, but I think it's time for the Jags to move on. Too many picks to lose the game. I'm done with Blake Bortles. And it's a shame because, like I said, I wanted him. I was convinced he was going to be the best quarterback in this draft class that came out in 2014. And right now, he's at the back of that draft class, unfortunately. Derek Carr, obviously the leader in the clubhouse, and a healthy Teddy Bridgewater is also in front of him right now. It's just so disappointing that he hasn't been what I thought he was going to be for this Jaguars team. The turnovers, the decision-making, the inaccuracies, it's just frustrating with Blake Bortles. You can't win like that in the league. It's one thing to be inaccurate. It's one thing to have to punt. This guy's turning the football over at an alarming rate, and that's something else you can't live with. I have a little bit of a pet peeve with him in terms of his indecisiveness as to whether to run or not run. There's a play where he scrambles out. He's got a defensive lineman chasing him named Win. He's going to win that foot race if he decides to take off. Instead, he hesitates, he pumps. And this is a 3rd down, mind you. And then he decides to try to fit it into a tight space to a guy who's struggling this year in Allen Robinson, who doesn't catch the football and wasn't the best throwing football anyway. But if he just decides to tuck that one and run, he'll pick up 9 yards on 3rd and 7, and they'll move the sticks. Instead, he decides, I'm going to let this slow defensive linemen attack me, and I'm going to hesitate to the point where now I got to throw it. I can't run. And you get an incomplete pass and you got to punt. It's his decision-making in conjunction with his failure to be accurate with the football and the turnovers. It's all of a big turnoff for me, and I'm done with Blake Bortles. But he's going to get one more year because the new coach is going to come in, and they're going to tell him when he signs up for the job, you got to give Blake Bortles one more year. You got to try to fix this guy. So we'll see what happens with that. But I'm not a Blake Bortles guy any longer. This season has done it for me as well. So with that being said, it's going to do it for Denver Broncos at the Jacksonville Jaguars here on Lockdown Coverage. Broncos get the win 20-10, go to 8-4 in the season. Meanwhile, the Jags drop to 2-10. If it happens in the National Football League, whether big or small, we cover it all here in the Lab Room on the Louie Tee Network. Remember, we're changing the game one live feed at a time. Come back and join me as I've got plenty more games to break down in week number 13 in the National Football League. Long day ahead of me breaking these games down. Hopefully, I'll see you for much of the day. Have a good one. See you later on.